Hello and welcome. In today's podcast, we're going to walk you through the process of planning and booking a Disney cruise. Please share your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, so today we want to walk you through the process of going through the Disney Cruise Line or the DCL website, showing you all the different options that you have available when planning your first or your next cruise. Stay tuned for future videos where we're going to walk through the booking, excursion process, and the check-in process. But for today, we thought it would be helpful just to kind of go through some of those preliminary questions that goes into actually booking your cruise.
Yeah, so in this first section today, we're going to walk through all the different questions that you really need to answer for yourself to find the right cruise for you. Stay tuned. All right, as you can see now, we are on the Disney Cruise Line website. And one of the things you want to do here is you want to click on Plan a Cruise and Find a Cruise. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to find the different things that you need to consider when choosing a destination and a port.
So one of the things that might come immediately to mind when you're looking at this is when you want or when can you take your cruise. So here you've got some date options here. You see you've got about maybe a year and a half's worth of options available to us. We're going to choose for this demo July 2026. That's the time frame. July was when we just took our cruise on the Treasure, so that's the one most familiar to us. We're going to hit view dates here.
All right, another thing you need to consider is how long of a cruise do you want to take? So as you can see here, you have options 1 to 3 nights, 4 nights, 5 to 6 nights, 7 nights, 8 to 13 nights. Now different cruises and different cruise ships do different total amounts of nights. So the question is, are you looking for a specific ship? Or are you looking for just a specific trip? So when considering these, you really kind of need to have an idea. Are you really stuck in one area? Is there a specific thing you want to do? If not, if you're kind of wide open, you can pick any of these time frames depending on how long of a vacation you're taking. For this demo, we're going to do 7 nights because our last trip on the Treasure was a 7-night cruise. So we're going to do that since we know a lot about that.
Next, we want to look at what kind of destinations are going to be available to you based off of the options you've selected so far. So here we've got options available of Alaska cruises, Bahamas, going to the Caribbean, or going to some European destinations. There are some others that Disney does go to, but as you see, based on the filters that we've clicked on so far, those other areas might be grayed out. So we're going to stick with what we just went on. So we're going to click Caribbean Cruises.
All right, so now that we picked a Caribbean cruise, now you need to look and see which port do you want to sail out of, okay, for your trip. So we're going to click on departing from any port and we're going to see what our options are. As you can see, there are some grayed out ones, but you have 2 options, Fort Lauderdale and Port Canaveral. Different cruise ships go out of the different ports. So again, if you're looking for a specific ship, you need to see which port that ship sails out of. For us, we know where we went on our cruise, we were at Port Canaveral. So we're going to select Port Canaveral for the port that we want to choose for this one.
So this isn't one of the filters necessarily on here, but another big consideration when you're thinking about this is how are you actually going to be getting to the port? Are you going to be driving down? Are you going to be flying down? Either way, I think we've heard, across multiple areas of like, you should always try to get there at least 1 day ahead of time.
Yeah, one of the things also to look at is where these airports are if you're going to have to fly or if you're driving. So we drove. We are close enough to drive down to Florida. We stayed in a hotel the night before. But if you're flying in, you need to look at your airport options there. So we do know from what we've seen on other YouTuber sites that when you're flying into the Orlando area, it's maybe 30 minutes or so from the Port Canaveral. And for the Fort Lauderdale port, which is Port Everglades, I think it's called, that airport is actually really close, 5-10 minutes away. But like Hope said, it's a good idea to get in the day before, because if you have any hiccups and you don't get on board in time, you've missed your cruise. So you want to make sure that you're getting there in a timely manner. So don't stress out, do the smart thing, arrive a day early, get a hotel. A lot of these, especially if you're flying in, I know for Orlando they have transfers from that hotel. I believe it's the Hyatt there at the Orlando airport. They will actually transfer you from the airport to the port, and you actually don't have to worry about your port arrival time in that case, which we'll talk about in a separate video. But I think Fort Lauderdale, though, you would have to get an Uber or otherwise. Okay. Another thing to think about here is the itinerary that you want to take. So if you see on the screen now, you see there's a 7-night Western Caribbean cruise and a 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise. Now, the way this works on most of the ships is 1 week you get the Western Caribbean cruise. The very following week, you get the Eastern Caribbean cruise. So you need to look at it and see which one makes the most sense for you. What do you want to do? Where would you like to see? So if you see the Western Caribbean cruise, your options are Cozumel, Mexico, Georgetown, Grand Cayman, Falmouth, Jamaica, and Disney Castaway Cay. Now, I will tell you that's the cruise we went on this past summer. Now, the other option, the eastern one, is Tortola, British Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Disney Castaway Cay. So that is another option for you. So you need to kind of think about where you'd like to visit. But as you can see here, I'll go ahead and click on this, showing you the dates to show you what I was talking about every other week. If you look at the date range for this Western Caribbean cruise, you've got July 11th through 18th, and then July 25th through August 1st. As you see, there's a gap here. You can also see the prices. That's one other thing. If you're considering, as you consider your trip, you can see the starting price for each of these different rooms. So inside stateroom, where you don't have a view of the ocean, an ocean view room, which usually you get a porthole, veranda, where you have a veranda / balcony, and then concierge. We won't get into concierge. Concierge, you're paying more than double the cost. You get some perks for being concierge, but for the purpose of this demo, we're going to stick with these rooms. We did a veranda, so I'll talk more about that. You can see $96.80 for this cruise, $94.58 for that cruise. And then as we select the Eastern Caribbean cruise, if we show the dates, you'll see they're the opposite dates as the other two. Now, the one interesting thing here is veranda $99.81, veranda $98.84, which this one you only have 3 ports versus 4 ports on the Western Caribbean. So you end up with more sea days, but you're actually paying a little more money. So something to really look at depending on what you like. If you're a first-time cruiser, do you want to be on the water more? Do you want to visit more ports? It's just all things to consider as you're looking at these options. But again, for our cruise, we did the Western Caribbean. And here in a couple of minutes, we'll show you the actual process of booking your cruise.
All right, so like Mike said, we're going to be walking you through the booking process in just a minute. But one thing we wanted to come back and make sure that we notated was the fact that you also need to filter and kind of tell it like how many adults and how many children are going to be cruising with you.
Yeah, so you need to select the total guests, total amount of guests that are going to be on the cruise. So the cost that you saw in the selections that we were looking at, that $9,000 range, that was a cost for 2 adults and 1 children. That was for our family. We forgot that it's automatically set in there if you have an account set up on the Disney Cruise Line website, which we do. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the costs vary by how many adults versus how many children. So again, if you've got more than 3 people, your cost is going to be higher. If you have less, then your cost is probably going to be less. Another thing we want to talk about is your option to choose to use a travel agent.
Yeah, I think having a travel agent is a really good option, but really keep in mind you're going to want to still go through a lot of these same steps and answer a lot of the same questions that we've kind of walked through already, because your travel agent's going to be looking to you to answer those anyway. So, you know, you can kind of think about like if you have got flexibility and when you're able to travel, or if you're choosing, you know, you might be able to have the option to choose a couple destinations. What is really more important to your family, and what kind of things does your family like to enjoy on vacation? So make sure you have those kind of like already in mind, because they're going to be looking to you, because this is your vacation, right? It's not theirs. So they want to make sure that you have a good time. So go ahead and put in a little bit of time to think about those things.
Yeah, we strongly suggest you go through these ahead of time. If you are new to the travel agent you're going to use, if you're going to choose to use one, like Hope said, you're going to need to give them these answers anyway. And for us, knowledge is power. So you want to have a good idea of what you want to do, because once you let the travel agent go to it, that's kind of what you're going to be stuck with, unless, I don't want to say stuck, that's a bad word, but kind of like your room. If you're really set on, hey, I want this specific room, because there are different things out there that'll tell you this room has this theme. So which floor you're going to be on, all these different things. You can actually, if you're booking it yourself, you can pick the exact room you want that's available. Whereas if you use a travel agent, you're going to tell them and they're going to do the best they can to find one in the area that you're talking about. So just kind of keep that in mind. But again, you knowing more about it is always helpful. So now we're going to walk you through the actual booking process.
All right, we're back to showing you how to do the booking process. And like we mentioned a moment ago, we wanted to show you one of the most important steps, which is choosing how many guests are going to be sailing on the cruise. So here we're going to go ahead and make sure we're choosing for our family. So we've got 2 adults and 1 child. They're going to go ahead and ask you the age of the child at time of travel as well. So make sure you notate that as part of your selection process. And then we'll go ahead and view dates. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go through the steps that we just kind of walked through real quick. So we're gonna choose the date. We're choosing July of 26. We're gonna go ahead and choose the sailing to the Caribbean. And then we're gonna end up choosing the port. We're gonna do Port Canaveral for this one. Choosing view dates. And then we'll go ahead and look through and choose how many nights. So we're going to choose 7 nights. All right.
All right, and like we talked about in the earlier process, you need to pick an itinerary, okay? So you need to pick which itinerary we want to choose. We took the Western, so we're going to select that for this. We have 2 date ranges, so we're going to look and see what they are. And just for giggles, since we're not specifically working on a certain time frame, just because most people will have to look at the cost, we're going to select the cheaper of the 2. So we're going to go with the July 25th through the August 1st, and we're going to hit the continue button over here to the right.
So from there, it's going to go ahead and show you like what your actual itinerary looks like on the map. I always get kind of excited about this one because you can kind of see exactly where you're going to be going during the time frame. And as you scroll down, it shows you each day. and what is kind of available. So we've got days at sea and which days you're going to be at port. So it just kind of gives you a little bit more information about each one.
One thing to keep in mind as well, we're not going to talk about it on this podcast, but we will in future podcasts, is if you click on the Learn More button about this port, that's where you're going to get to information on the excursions. Again, we will talk about these in another episode. All right, so what we want to talk about now is the view staterooms.
Yeah, this is the fun part. So it's going to ask you to
Again?
reconfirm,
Yep.
your travel party.
Now, another thing to keep in mind, until you actually click to pay, none of this is set in stone. So you can actually do this and not have to worry about, did I just actually book a cruise?
Yeah, this is great for like, you're just kind of like trying to price things out, right? Like, again, the fun part, dreaming about your next cruise. All right. So we've got up at the top, you've got your options for the different types of staterooms. And so this is like the first stage, right? Like you got to think about, do you want a veranda room? Do you want to be able to have access to the outside a little bit more from your room? Do you just want to be able to see the ocean and not have that option to be on a balcony? Or do you want to be inside? You don't want to be anywhere near, you don't want to see the water or the waves or anything like that, or you're not going to be in your room very much. So let's go ahead and, because again, the costs kind of go along based off of which of these types that you end up going with.
And also the size of the rooms. As you can see here, now we're on the veranda setup because that's what we chose. As you can see here, if you get the deluxe ocean view stateroom with veranda, it's 243 square feet. You do, again, get a veranda. The one that we chose is the deluxe family. And the difference here is if you look, I don't know if you can see the pictures, but you have a couch in your room. In the ocean view stateroom with veranda, the veranda is immediately after the couch. If you look at the family ocean view stateroom with veranda, it's 284 square feet, so about 41 square feet larger. And if you can see the picture, I'm not sure if you can, but if you can't, you can go online and look. After the couch or sofa, you actually, and you can't really tell in this picture, but there is actually a cabinet or an extra space beyond that. So you get a little more room. So we're going to select like Hope said, the deluxe family ocean view stateroom with veranda. All right, now you're going to decide basically where on the ship do you want to be. And as you can see here, it starts off on the aft page. You have a page for aft, midship, and forward. Okay, and you got options of deck 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 right now. Let's see, are there more? Looks like that's it. Okay, so you have these options and you can see the prices, where the pricing starts for each of these decks. And again, like we spoke about earlier, you want to kind of have an idea of where you want to be. If you're a little more worried about potential seasickness, midship is probably where you want to be.
Yeah, you'll feel a little less of the movement the more midship that you are. From what we hear.
From what we hear. Now, we were midship on our first cruise. Again, options deck 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Deck 11 is the pool deck. There are rooms on the 11th as well. But for this one, we're going to look at midship. We're going to look at, and again, you can see up here, the forward actually, looks like the forward is actually even more money. We'll click on that real quick. Okay. All right, so the forward, your option is deck 11, okay? So we're just gonna go here, we're gonna select deck 10, that's where we were in room 10560, so we're gonna select that. And then if you look, not sure how easy it is to see on here on the camera, but all the ones that are white
are not available.
Are not currently available for this cruise. Now again, this is summer of 2026. At the time of this recording, it's November of 2025. These cruises come out online about a year to a year and a half prior. So we're within 7 months or so of this cruise. So here about halfway through the booking process, as you can see. Now there are quite a few all in a row here, which is strange.
And nice, those are bump outs as well.
Yeah.
So your veranda is going to be a little bit.
Other things to consider. If you look here, 10560, this was actually the room we were in last time. Okay, now there's a lot of different things when you look at these. There are different types of rooms. That's another thing you got to consider, depending on the amount of people. Do you have 3 people? Do you have 4 people? Do you have 5 people? So we were in 10560. It gave us an extra cabinet at the back end that was just for us to store clothing or whatever we wanted in. Now the very next room next to us, 10558, I believe, had what they call a Murphy bed. So it gave an option for a 5th person to have a bed in the room. So instead of that cabinet full of space, it was a bed that came down. So just kind of something to keep in mind. So there are spreadsheets out there and available that will kind of give you a good idea of what each room setup is, as well as, you know, what's the theme of that room. But let's just pick one in here. We'll do 10550. Okay, if we select that, we're gonna look and see what it says. All right, it's a queen bed, sofa bed, and it's a ceiling pull down bed. Okay, so that sofa has one that pulls down above it. Okay, and then it's got a lower wall pull down bed. That is the Murphy bed. So this one gives you an option to sleep 5 people. Okay, and if you look, 1 adult, 2 adult, a child, 10,702, 11. Okay, so now we're not going to select that one right away. We're going to go back one page. Let me redo this, sorry. We're going to go back to midship. There was probably an easier way to do this, but we're going to go back and we're going to select a different room. Let's say, now I'm picking on the starboard side, okay? That's one of the things we didn't talk about.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see here, you've got the starboard, which is the right side. You can also choose one on port side, which is the left. And again, like, you know, we're midship, but if you wanted forward or aft, those are all kind of considerations here. All right, so what do we have on this one?
We selected another one that happens to be the Murphy bed, but one tip or trick that we will tell you is go out and see if you can find the spreadsheets that tell you which rooms are what. That is the easiest and quickest way than doing what we're showing you right now, which is clicking all these different things. But if we go back one more time, I can actually show you another one that, in case you didn't want to get the exact same one that we had. But if you look on here, let's see. Well, we'll click on the one that it's not available. I wonder if it'll show you. It won't even let you do that. But either way, if you click on it, it will show you the cost. It'll show you exactly how much it is. So those were 10,700 bucks. So again, if we click on this one up here, 10,702.11. Now that is the cost for all 3 people. And if you look here, that includes your taxes, your fees, and your port expenses. It does not include your tipping, and it does not include any extras you do on board the ship, which is the excursions or any events you do on the ship that actually cost money. Now the Navigator app will tell you which items those are. Okay. Now let's say if you select the stateroom.
Yep, let's go ahead and select this one. It's just going to think about it, make sure it's still available.
Okay. It shows you here.
Yep, just giving you another little summary here, and then we're just going to go to our cart. We still haven't paid, we still haven't done anything. We are not locked in, so we're still good to kind of move forward here.
All right, so this is currently in our cart. You can select. You can even add another stateroom, and as you can see here, it's got a pricing summary, and it will tell you what you have due today. So for this cruise, your deposit is $506.35. That you would have to pay today if you were going to proceed. Okay. It also shows your gratuities. Okay. So your gratuities are here. Now they're going to automatically, I think, bill you for the standard gratuities each day. Or is that an option?
No, they'll go ahead. I think it might end up being at the end because I feel like sometimes the line for guest services is the longest on that last night to potentially add more gratuities to the people that
and if you want, you can click here what's included. Okay. Broadway style shows, fireworks at sea, character experiences, movie screenings, pools, water slides, splash zones, wading pools. Okay, you do have to pay for any of the extras. The Royal Court Royal Tea Thing, Bibbidi Boppity Boop, Boutique is an extra cost. But you can choose to prepay your gratuities, which is a good option if you want to do it all at once so you really know what your cost is. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay that at the end of your cruise. Now at the end of your cruise, they are also going to, the night before you're debarking, you're going to have some envelopes show up in your room where you have the option to tip a little more money for certain people. It's going to be your stateroom cast member. It's also going to be your dining serving team, which is your head server, your main server, and your assistant server. So just kind of keep that in mind. So again, your costs show here. That $506.35 is going to be deducted from that total for your further payment later, but you do have to pay that deposit at this time. And then you've got the idea of what they're saying gratuities are going to cost for this cruise. One other thing to keep in mind, you pay for parking if you're driving. So if you're driving down, you're going to have to park in the parking garage there at the port. I will say at the time that we went for the 7-day cruise, it was $140 something to park in the parking garage. Now I did just hear, if you haven't heard already, Disney's gone up on some pricing pretty much everywhere. That cost is going to be a little bit higher now. So make sure you check on that to know ahead of time. Those are all extra costs that are going to be included that you'll need to pay when you get there. So this was a quick look here at the booking process. We're not going to proceed to the next step. This was just to show you guys. But again, hope this was informative, and we'll get ready to close out the video. All right, so like we said, we've walked you through the process of planning and booking your Disney cruise. Hopefully, like we said, it's informative and helpful. Please comment below if you've seen anything different or if you have your own thoughts and opinions. And we appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting the channel by hitting the like button as well as subscribing and ringing the bell for notifications on future videos.